What excites you most about the future and where AI and utility mapping can go in terms of what's possible for project delivery?
It's just the speed that's coming in now. I mean, it's more data, faster, more accurate. We've been with, 4M almost 4 years now. And so just to see the speed of how things are coming in and how not just the speed of it, but how accurate it is now coming in. The object detection was a game changer for 4M on being able to detect objects essentially instantaneously.
Welcome to 4M and 10M, where industry experts share real stories on how they're using AI to plan, design, and build better together in 10 minutes or less.
Welcome everybody to another episode of 4M and 10M. As always, I'm your host, Chris Garafola, and today's episode is brought to you by 4M, the utility data platform for infrastructure. Today, we're joined by Jon King, project manager at VRX Global. Jon, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
Do you mind sharing with the audience just a little bit more about yourself, your role, and the company you work for?
My name is Jon King, project manager, vice president for engineering for VRX. We are a 200-person firm. We're headquartered in North Texas, but we have 5 offices across the state of Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, and New York. My role is, in addition to just overseeing our utility department, is to be in charge of utility coordination and our utility projects that we have with state DOT and municipalities.
Jon, I would love if you could just give me a little context and background on how did 4M even get on VRX's radar? What was the problem that you were looking to solve back then?
We have the same issue that a lot of consultants have, is utility data is hard to come by. Sometimes it takes a lot of effort to get it, either back in the old days of having to go visit the vault, physically go somewhere and dig through plans to find what you're looking for. So when we were approached by 4M, we were skeptical at first. Could it really solve the issues that we have? But, from using the platform, it definitely gives us an advantage of receiving utility data in a very quick format that's easy to use and easy to identify. Something that would take us, weeks or months to be able to do, from emailing and making phone calls and making actual visits, or actually having to go out to the site. There's things that we used to do back in the day. But now we have the platform, which makes that so much easier. Having instantaneous access to utilities makes a total difference in what we do. So
people might be a little skeptical of AI at first, but how did you turn from like a skeptic to a believer? Like, what was that turning point for you?
Well, it was really, we did a test project. We had a project that was already mapped using, traditional SUE quality levels that we've done in the past. And we compared that to a map that we did with 4M and compared the data to see how it came back. And like I said, for the project that we did, it took us months to get the data into a format that we could deliver to a client, wherein essentially at the time it was less than a day, because we've been with 4M for a while and things have advanced so much, but it took less than a day to get essentially the same CAD file that took us months to develop. So it really proved itself right from the beginning, and the data was accurate. It was the same information that we received directly from either the utilities of municipalities or the state that we were getting. So we even mapped our own office to see, what's outside of our office, because we know exactly where all the utilities are here. So we did a test run on our office just to see what came up on that too. So
I love that. You really put our feet to the fire.
We did. So yeah.
That's great. And as you said, you've been with 4M for a while, and it's wild how fast the technology evolves. And, with AI, it just gets smarter. The more you use it, the more data we have, it just gets better and better. So that's great to hear that we earned your trust back then. But I can only imagine that we're continuing to earn that trust more and more because it's only getting better.
Oh, it's only getting better. It's getting faster, more accurate. The amount of time that we receive it in, like I said, back when we first started, it was almost like a half a day to a day to get data in. And now it's literally, pressing the click of a button and data pops up, which is amazing, especially when you're working on projects that you need that data today. You don't have time to make phone calls or emails or wait for things to come back to you. You have it right there in front of your face. So it's kind of game changing.
Jon, would you be able to walk me through maybe a specific project where you used 4M and what the use case was for it?
We have an aviation project we're working on with with an airport, and they were looking at a piece of land that was currently vacant. They wanted to essentially look at it for future land development. And so it was a native bare site, but they wanted to look at how much it would cost to get utilities to that site and kind of come up with an estimate for planning purposes on that. This wasn't a local project to me, so it was over 4 hours from where I was, so it wasn't feasible for me just to go out to the field and look for traditional things that we look for, manholes and overhead lines, pipeline markers, things like that. We went ahead and mapped it with 4M. We were able to get and this was a time crunch. It was, the client needed it that day. He had been working on the project for a while and wasn't getting information that he needed. Typical with requested utility files and things, you don't get the data back. You don't get a response or things are inconclusive. So we ran 4M on it. We did the validated data on it and received the data within about 48 hours for the site, which is about a 15-acre site that we were looking at the time. So we were able to get linear feeds, overhead line. We found all the natural gas pipelines that were in the area, telecoms that were there. And so we were able to essentially come up with a preliminary utility routing to serve the site, enough to give him an estimate of how much his utility costs would be if there was any relocations that were needed, where his utilities were coming from. Some of them were not on the side of the road that he needed. So, there's going to be a cost for going underneath a major highway to get there. Within 48 hours, we were able to give him a linear feed of utilities and prepare a cost estimate for him of what his utility relocations would be. This was something like before we had 4M, wouldn't have even been possible for me to do that within that type of time limit, given the amount of information that we received and where the sources came from. But things started to pop into the platform. We saw the water lines. There was a transmission line that was there that was running through along the site that didn't have any manholes within the area that we were doing or meters or valves in that area. So we probably would have totally missed that one just because there wasn't any markers that were showing there was a big transmission line running through that. We definitely would have missed some utilities.
So it sounds like the impact Forum made there was speed, but also the comprehensiveness, just giving you more evidence of the utilities that are out there.
Yeah, confidence level was definitely increased, knowing that we had a pretty solid, complete utility map at the time.
It's a great story. What would you say in terms of how Forum helps you collaborate better with whether it's a contractor or clients or other teams and departments within VRX?
Sometimes there are clients that are skeptical of SUE or utilities in general. So, we might have design projects where we don't have a budget or adequate budget to do, in-depth utility investigation. We might just have a level D type contract where we're doing design, that can bite you sometimes when you just have level D. So, using the platform is helped us kind of supplement some of those contracts where we have a better understanding of where the utilities are, helps us do better designs. This is helping us be more comprehensive in the data that we provide, especially for situations where we might not have, a very big utility budget to be able to do, like an adequate SUE investigation.
And kind of double tapping there, just giving you more evidence to have this more comprehensive view of the utility landscape out there. And that's really what Forum's we're trying to do, is just provide utility intelligence backed by multiple sources of evidence. So whether that's including public records, object detection, or even now road marks, all of these indicators are trying to help give you a more comprehensive view of what's out there, to give you more confidence in the decisions that you're making. Because as we're talking offline, your decisions are only as good as the information behind them. So what are the key benefits of seeing all these signals either confirm a utility's presence or maybe reveal discrepancies in the data points? So maybe there's no record of the utility, but there's a road mark.
Yeah, definitely. The object detection helps a lot. The AI also confirmed that there's a line there, right? If there's, if we see manholes and water valves, we typically know there's probably going to be some type of utility that's between those handholds and things like that. So having object detection helps get that alignment more in tune to where it is actually in the field. It's not just, arbitrarily drawing in. We have the connection between manholes or valves that helps get more accurate information, because that's one of the things too. We want to show all the utilities, of course, but we would like to know where the alignment of the utility is in relation, especially with our linear transportation projects that could be critical. Knowing where the actual utility is located especially when you have tight right-of-ways in a lot of utilities that we see down here in Texas. So object detection, the road markers has helped a lot too, as far as, zeroing in on where that alignment is. It gives us more evidence of, yes, that's where it's been physically located, either by some kind of level B or level A type activity. So it just further zeroes in that alignment, gives us more accuracy. Once again, it raises the confidence level of the data that we're receiving. So anything that any of those features, the object detection, the road markers, it helps us just raise that confidence level to have better data.
Right. And the speed, right? That's one of the main values to you, because I've heard somebody say this as well. It's like, we could always get the information. It just wasn't when we wanted it. It's not when we needed it.
There's when you're doing a feasibility study, you don't always want to pay, to have survey go out and identify and tag things like that if it's, not a project that's guaranteed yet. So for feasibility, or conceptual studies, land studies, just trying to see routings for different routes that we're looking at to see where utilities might affect that route. It definitely helps a lot than having to spend some of your budget to actually have people physically go out there and locate it, which, like you say, it takes time. And there's, of course, the risk of just being out in the field. We're getting all this data, sitting in the office, especially given some of the locations, and they can be very tight corridors, high traffic volumes. Anything we could do to keep our people safe is better.
And so, Jon, you talked about you've been with 4M for a while. You've seen us evolve over the years. What excites you most about the future and where AI and utility mapping can go in terms of what's possible for project delivery?
It's just the speed that's coming in now. I mean, it's more data, faster, more accurate. We've been with 4M almost 4 years now, 3 to 4 years. And so just to see the speed of how things are coming in, and how not just the speed of it, but how accurate it is now coming in. The object detection was, almost a game changer for 4M on being able to detect objects essentially instantaneously. I'm just interested to see how in the number of years we've been with 4M, what it'll look like in the next 3 to 4 years. From where the technology will go from there. Yeah,
it's exciting times, and it's hard to keep up. Things are changing and evolving so quickly, but it's good. Jon, you've entered my favorite part, the lightning round. What's a question more infrastructure leaders should be asking right now?
They should be asking about how we can better our quality of our deliverables. We want to do things quick. We want to do things fast. All of our projects are time crunch. We need to get them out. We need to get them now. But how can we improve the quality of what our deliverables are? What kind of engineering design tools are there to make sure that we have good quality? AI is going to be very big and important in that side. It helps in cutting down the amount of QC and QA time that we have.
If you could go back in time, Jon, and work on any famous infrastructure project, what would it be?
Oh, wow. I would probably say I'm a roadway guy. So the Golden Gate Bridge would probably be one of the bigger ones for me. I've been to San Francisco, I've driven across the bridge, so just seeing how that was built into the side of the mountain that it goes through, not mountain, but hill that it goes through, is quite impressive. It's just an impressive structure itself of how that was built.
That'd be awesome to tell the family as you're driving over it. Yeah, design that.
Yeah, I designed that. Yeah, I built it.
No big deal. What is a hidden talent or passion that your colleagues might not know about you?
I guess the question is, what do I want them to know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So back in college, I actually was a college DJ. I actually had a radio show that I did once a week. That was my side gig at school. I was a college DJ.
Nice. I was gonna say you got a little DJ voice, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I became an engineer. I didn't do radio and TV. So
right on. I DJ'd. We'll have to do another episode at some point. I DJ'd professionally for like 10 years myself back in the day. Back when it was CDJs. I had the CDJs. I didn't do the records. I did the CDJs.
I go back to the record. I go back to the Technique 1200. So yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, old school, back in the time. Yeah, back in the day.
Huge thanks to you, Jon, for joining me today. That's a wrap for another 4M and 10M. I really appreciate you being on the show and sharing how VRX Global is using AI utility data to build smarter, faster, safer infrastructure. So thank you so much, Jon.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation.